We are getting down to the nitty-gritty of this season for the DOB Sprint and Big Block Series, which we'll be bringing to you a little bit later tonight. Only 2 races to go after tonight's race here at the Limaland Motorsports Park in, why is that like that? Here at the Limaland Motorsports Park here in Lima. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. Alongside me is my broadcast partner, Ben Bruno. Ben, we were here actually 2 weeks ago with the Big Block Modifieds. We saw those things big, put on a great race here. These cars, I'm expecting to do just the same.
Yeah, and what a show that was, without a doubt. Whether it be the 410 sprint cars or the Big Block Modifieds, for these dirty old bastards drivers, man, it's always a really great show. And I think we're going to see some of that here tonight as, a small track here in Limaland, and next week heading to Lanier. So 2 more short tracks. Last week, Cedar Lake, a really great show for these guys. So you know that we're going to continue to see that again here this week at Limaland, Frank.
Yep, absolutely. And this is a smaller track, a little bit more difficult, and these cars do have a lot of power under them, being the 410s, the big sprint cars. Only 11 drivers here as of right now, so that means it's going to be a very short night, or at least it's appearing as though it's going to be a very short night here for the 410s.
Yeah, and right now, Rusty Kruger, our points leaders in here, Vinny Sansoni, fell back a couple spots last week in the points to 6. He's going to be out there tonight. Mike Keegan in second. Probably going to be the tightest points battle, as after this week, only 3 races left for the 410 Sprint Car Series. And those 2 are going to put on a show again here, I'm sure.
Yep, absolutely. And let's go to the points as we have just a couple of minutes to go here before we get into the actual bulk of the racing tonight. Rusty Kruger, as you mentioned, in the points lead, holding a steady points lead right now at 48 points over Mike Keegan in the X. Kyle Stoltz is hovering around there as well. 1 and 2 seem to be on an island of their own, but the rest of the guys 3rd through, I would say, about 9th. With Tyson Landis, there's a lot of movement that could happen right around that group.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we see it every week. These races are good for a reason. The points are tight for a reason because of that really good racing. So, I'm sure I sound like a broken record at this point this early on, because all I can say is that we're going to see it here because these guys are talented, and this is not an easy place to get around, but it does have multiple racing grooves on it. So it's going to put on a good show here tonight.
It certainly will. And for what to expect here tonight, at least out of us, is you're going to be hearing 2 different broadcast groups here for the series tonight. I will be taking you through the 410 sprint cars, and then your typical dirt broadcaster Ryan Williams will be taking you through the big blocks if it's still, they stick to that 10 p.m. starting time, which is going to be the question. They may figure, we're a little early tonight, we may as well just go with it. And if that is the case, I'm pretty sure I'll be taking you through both of the races tonight. So as we begin to wind down this practice session here, only 11 drivers here tonight for the 410s. And again, that has a lot to do with big car, small track.
And, what that's going to do is keep a lot of life in the track as well. Just touch on it real quick before we get into qualifying here. Kyle Moonen, fastest in practice at a 10.759. Got to pull up the sort again here. Tyler Henselman in second at a 10.822. Chris Roberts third at 10.856. Darren Detweiler fourth at a 10.871. as we get our first cars out for qualifying.
Yep, Darren Detweiler being one of those cars that is coming out for the qualifying session here. As there is the 3 of Detweiler already halfway through his first lap. These laps go incredibly quick around here, as you said, just a shade over 10 seconds. And Detweiler is going to be the first one to set a time, and he's going to set a 10.77 here for his pole time, and that's what it's going to be. Aaron Schaefer crossing the line just in front of him. Detweiler goes purple again, the second half of the lap, and already we're down to 2 guys left to set times, Kyle Stoltz and Kyle Moonen.
And as you say that, I believe that 10.799 by Darren there, that's going to be the fastest lap of the entire session yet. Like I said, small car count, lots of track life throughout the whole night here for these guys.
Yep, absolutely. And just like that, qualifying is over. Kyle Stoltz puts it into P9. And, yeah, that's about it. That's as good as you're going to get for the qualifying session here. As we'll try to see what Kyle Moonen is up to. Yeah, he's not doing much of anything here. So in just a moment, we will get you to the official grid. And as you'd mentioned before, the track life is really going to stick with this track. You can already see just a little bit on screen there going into turn 1. It's starting to dry up a little bit. But other than that, not too much running on this track with only 11 drivers. We're probably going to get one 6-car heat and a 5-car heat, and then we're going right to the features. So there's not a lot of time to be put on this track.
And a couple of late joiners here, Tyson Landis and Ernie Williams Jr. going to join the field late. I don't believe they got a qualifying time in. I'm not sure if that makes them enter out of this thing or not.
I think they would still be in it. I think they are going to have to go through a heat. But first, we'll take a look at the grid here for this first heat. The overall pole sitter, Darren Detweiler, will sit number 1 for heat number 1 with Kyle Moonen next to him. Vinny Sansoni and Tyler Henselman will make up row 2, and Kyle Stoltz and Mike Keegan will make up row number 3 here for this heat race, as we're just waiting for Keegan in the X to jump on in, and it looks as though Keegan will be starting from the pit lane here tonight. Only 6 drivers set to take part here in this heat. 10 laps for this heat, and they are going to go by lightning quick.
Should be interesting. Really, Darren, if I'm not mistaken, he was about 0.2 quicker than Rusty, who was the second quick qualifier here tonight. So in theory, if he gets the clean air on his nose, he should be able to be in some pretty good shape. But maybe some of these guys just not able to get that car where they wanted on the qualifying lap. Kyle Moonen was really fast in practice, so he was actually a couple hundredths of a second faster than Darren's qualifying lap in practice. So should be interesting.
Yep, absolutely. As they come off of quarter number 4, the first heat of the night is underway, and already Darren Detweiler on the inside gets clear. Kyle Moonen and Vinny Sansoni now battling for that second position. Sansoni trying to make the inside line work. Just too much rotation out of the back end of that number 80.
In the 21 of Tyler Henselman leading Kyle Stoltz. They were 2x2 there for a minute as they head back down the front stretch. It's going to be Tyler Henselman. Now Kyle Stoltz taking a look to the outside, see if he can get a run of momentum on the top coming down the front stretch.
Riding on board right now here with Kyle Henselman, pardon. Oh boy, Tyler Henselman, there, we got it right, third time lucky. On board that number 21, as he still has Kyle Stoltz battling with him. Sansoni has gotten away and has made the move on the 24 of Kyle Moonen, and will now set his sights on the 3 of Detweiler. And boy, that was a big dive from Sansoni, trying to get any advantage that he possibly can on that 3 of Detweiler.
2 laps to go here, and it looks like Sansoni going to take a big look to the inside, not able to make it stick. He's just bottom feeding, we like to call that right now, but we'll see how long he can hold on to Darren here on the bottom. Darren running smooth as ever in the middle right now.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Kyle Moonen, the car way wide. as Sansoni's going to make another big lunge down the inside. Just cannot quite get it done. Detweiler running right in the middle of the track. Sansoni trying to get the momentum and just cannot before the line. And Darren Detweiler will take heat number 1.
Wow. What a finish. We just grow accustomed to it.
That was absolutely incredible. Well, you've grown accustomed to it. I think this is only my second broadcast with this series, so certainly you've come accustomed to it. As we'll take a look at the results from Heat 1 really quick before we get you the grid for Heat number 2. Darren Detweiler by 7/100ths of a second over Vinny Sansoni on for the victory. Kyle Moonen, Kyle Stoltz, Tyler Hanselman. Oh, my goodness. Tyler, you're going to kill me. I'm sorry. Tyler Hanselman and Mike Keegan, your top 6. Well, the 6 runners there for that heat. And Ben, take us for the grid.
Rusty Kruger, our points leader, going to start on the point. Jake Greenwood, second. Aaron Schaefer inside the second row. Chris Roberts going to start outside of him in that 4th spot. Randy Shreves in 5th, and Tyson Landis, like I mentioned, unable to qualify, so he's going to start at the tail.
Yes, he will, as we're about to complete these qualifying laps here, these pace laps here, pardon me, at the Limaland Motorsports Park. Again, be sure to stick with us because right after this will be the Big Block Modified Series, and they will be at Cedar Lake, where these cars were last week. So it'll be another fun night of DOB racing as we get set to go. Rusty Kruger and Jake Greenwood on the front row. There goes Kruger, and we are off and running here for heat number 2.
And everybody everywhere right now. Jake Greenwood right on Rusty's bumper here, if you might call it that, on the sprint car. Aaron Schaefer in 3rd right now, working the outside, and they're 3 wide for that 4th, 5th, and 6th spot.
Yeah, and that's Tyson Landis, one of the drivers that came in late, sitting there in the middle in the 31. Now at the very back, Chris Roberts, the big beneficiary, now trying to battle off Randy Shreves in the number 56 on the outside. But right now, look at the line that Rusty Kruger is taking up at the front, right up on that wall. And Jake Greenwood, who won back at Knoxville, is following him.
In 2 different lines on the track. A lot of guys starting to file up now, but really was a good run on the bottom here through these first 2 heat races. I guess our only 2 heat races tonight. But, guys not afraid to take a look down on the bottom.
Yeah, absolutely not, as Tyson Landis has gotten around Chris Roberts, now trying to put a move on Randy Shreves in that number 56. Up at the front, nothing doing here. These guys have now broken apart, even though Greenwood has just set the best lap of the heat at an 11.06. These guys are really flying, and they are really running in that outside line. Could be a hint for later on tonight. These guys may not want to run up there, or at least are trying to find if that outside line has some run. And it looks as though it does have some pace. As coming through turns 3 and 4, it will be Rusty Kruger. As quick as that, your second heat winner.
And it was all smooth sailing from him from the green flag. They got really bunched up off the restart, 3 and 4 wide at times early on, but after that, paced out of each other there, and all smooth sailing for Rusty.
Yep, absolutely, and we will show you now the results for our second and final heat tonight. The points leader, Rusty Kruger, takes the victory over Jake Greenwood, Aaron Schaefer, Randy Shreves, Chris Roberts, and Tyson Landis. The finishing order for the second heat here tonight as we get set to go for this little warm-up race here that these guys put on. As I would have to assume right now, the holdup being that they are looking for who is going to be starting where in the random draw.
You're absolutely right, Frank. They're picking right now. We're getting these numbers coming up from Race Control with Chris Roberts.
So while they are doing that, and we will get you that in a moment, reminder coming up here on ESBN, no competition tomorrow or Saturday. The Medieval Racing League at Daytona, however, will be running their Daytona 500 this Sunday night starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming up on Monday night will be the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. They will be running their 9th round of the season at Richmond International Raceway starting at 8:20, and then the double dip on Tuesday, the UK Sim Racing's MX5 Pro Series. They will be at Lime Rock at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the nightcap will be the Western States Racing League. They will be at the Nashville Fairgrounds at 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time. 6 cars will be making the run here on this tiny get-together race, and we are about to go green here one more time around before we do.
Looks like Greenwood, Sansoni, and then it's Rusty Kruger and Moonen.
Yep, and then I believe it's Schaefer and Detweiler are the final 2 as we get ready and are going here on this little heat race. As boy, Sansoni and Kruger getting really close on the inside. And remember, Sansoni was the one that was way down the inside, and a little bit of contact between Kruger and Sansoni.
And not often that as you're making a call, you can say they're going 3 by 3 as they're doing just that. They were 4 wide at one point, really shuffling it up now. As Rusty, a good run on the outside of Kyle Moonen.
Detweiler in the wall hard, is able to keep it going. Sorry to cut you off there.
Oh no, you had a better view on that than I did, so I'm glad that you could get the call out on it.
So right now, as we run, it is Jake Greenwood, Vinny Sansoni, then Rusty Kruger, Kyle Moonen, Aaron Schaefer, and Darren Detweiler here of these 6 drivers. And notice it has gotten really dark here at this racetrack. And again, these guys certainly learned something from that second heat. They are all right on the wall, except for Moonen, who tries to go way down to the bottom.
You can see it's starting to get a little bit slick on entry now, so the track's getting interesting. We'll see if it can get just slick enough that there's a little bit more life in the bottom, but like you said, all the momentum on the top right now.
Yep. And the dash race will go to Jake Greenwood. Again, Greenwood, the winner back at Knoxville a couple of weeks ago. And with that, we will run a little bit more here in this this warm-up session before we get to the main. Already we are 20 minutes into the life of this broadcast, and already we're about to hit the main.
It's something else, and I figure they'll probably run a little bit longer here, as only 4 minutes and 40 seconds into the warm-up of an allowed 20 minutes. Probably I would hope not run the whole 20 minutes, but get the track just where they want it, a little bit more racy like I talked about. Probably try to slick off the top a little bit more so that that middle bottom line comes into play. And then, once you see the marbles start getting kicked up, there will be a lot of speed in the middle of this track.
Yeah, and that's where you see Kyle Stoltz running right now. That was, I believe, Keegan really had a big ride there in the X. There goes Stoltz around the 77 of Aaron Schaefer there as well. Ernie Williams Jr. will be a part of this this race as well. He has come in as a late entry, so it'll be a 13-car main feature here tonight as we look forward to it. And again, only 2 races to go after this. We have Lanier, and then it's the dirt track at Charlotte. This is a key race, especially for Kruger and especially for Keegan. Keegan needs a great finish here. Only is 48 points off. He really needs a big finish and really needs to see Kruger run into troubles tonight.
And I mean, if you look at Rusty's wins here, Cedar Lake, so he's going to have a good chance here tonight. He's going to have a good chance next week at Lanier in another short one. But the other ones, Volusia, USA, and Lernerville. So, it's certainly not a slouch on some of these longer tracks either. So, Mike Keegan's got his work cut out for him with just after tonight, the 3 weeks worth of racing left.
Yeah, absolutely. As Rusty Kruger, as you see there, the current 410 sprint points leader right now coming into the racing here tonight. Won the second heat race. Darren Detweiler right now, who is running in the 6th position. He was the Heat 1 winner. Could not quite find a way around, and he's testing the limits of the outside right now.
In the track, as we're getting ready to go for the feature, these guys in the warm-up running low 11s, mid 11s. So the track is slowed down just about, for some guys, almost a whole second at this point.
Yeah, and that will certainly be something to watch out for as this race goes on. But before we get into the race, I'll correct a mistake here. Williams did not make it in time, so he will not be a part of the feature here tonight. Instead, it will be just 12 cars running in the feature tonight. And I believe, yep, there we go. There's the grid for tonight's feature. Darren Detweiler and Rusty Kruger, the two winners of their respective heats, will start in 1 and 2. Vinny Sansoni and Jake Greenwood will make up row number 2. Or pardon me, was it? It was Greenwood that won the dash, pardon me. And row 3 will go to Kyle Moonen and Aaron Schaefer, Ben.
Behind Aaron Schaefer, the 0-1 of Kyle Stoltz. Outside of him, going to be the 56 of Randy Shreves. Starting 9th, the 21 of Tyler Henselman. 10th, the 93 of Chris Roberts. 11th, Mike Keegan. And 12th, Tyson Landis.
And again, I'll apologize for myself here. This is not that often I broadcast this series, and I did forget the thing. These guys are getting in order as to which they raffled themselves out. So, as a matter of fact, it will be Jake Greenwood on the pole, pardon me. I keep forgetting that about this series. So they are going to do this lap here. They're going to run one more pace lap out from behind the pace truck. At least that's what I'm expecting. Yes, they will. To make it a 40-lap feature here tonight. So it'll be Greenwood and Sansoni, Kruger and Moonen, the top 2 rows. As we get set to go racing, Jake Greenwood looking for his 2nd win of the year. Vinny Sansoni looking for his 1st, and they both have the best look to do it. Green flag is in the air. We are racing here from Limaland, 40 laps, and Greenwood already at the wall. Kruger already looking to the inside, looking really racy in that number 5 all the way on the bottom. Just cannot quite get the move done, and then there is mayhem behind them.
And they're 3x3 this time. As I said, you never get to say it. Jake Greenwood, Vinny Sansoni, Rusty Kruger really shaking it up. Rusty, like I said, watch out for that bottom.
Absolutely, as Aaron Schaefer got caught up in the wall there in 1 and 2, still hasn't quite gotten it righted. Everyone else is able to keep going. However, up at the front, Jake Greenwood and Rusty Kruger battling for the race lead. Kruger set the best lap. Look at them, 3 abreast, taking 3 different lines, and Greenwood is the one that gets shot out of a cannon on the outside line.
And what an action-packed 6 laps this far.
Greenwood's in the wall hard, though. Sorry,
I did not see that.
There's so much going on here as now Vinny Sansoni is the one who has reaped the benefits of it, sliding up in front of Rusty Kruger. Kruger goes right down to the inside. These guys are having a whale of a race here on this, quarter-mile track?
Yes, sir, and you can see that middle, the marbles in the middle going to start to form up a little bit of a cushion here as this racetrack's really going to evolve. Big slider from Sansoni on Rusty. Rusty's going to repay the favor in turn 4. Drag race to the flag stand. Give it to Rusty Kruger.
I
What
would
a
love,
race.
I would love to know how close that was. I don't have a static timing and scoring here. As you can see, just how close these two are every single time they come across the line. And that's more or less what you're seeing. This is exactly what you're seeing here out of Kruger. You could just see how, or pardon me, Sansoni. You could just see how wild this car is. So much power on such a small racetrack. You're really just holding on for dear life.
And Kyle Stoltz and Chris Roberts wasting no time playing follow the leader on the bottom of the track. Chris Roberts starting 10th, already up to 5th. Kyle from 7th to 4th, and they're closing in on the leaders.
I don't know if we're going to get a lull in the action here, so really quick, what we'll do is we'll take a look. We've had a couple of incidents here. Here's Aaron Schaefer. This is back on lap 5 in the 77, and Mike Keegan not having the race that he needed to have, as the 77 looks as though he just pulls it off and is going to say no mas. Tyson Landis here on lap 12. Or pardon me, is this Landis? It was not Landis. Here is Landis in the 31. This is Landis going through 1 and 2, and I believe he's going to do the exact same thing. Yes, he does. Just pulls it off and says no mas. As Kruger and Greenwood and Sansoni now battling it out for second, and Greenwood's going to take the spot. Sansoni's going to cross him over, as Greenwood has a heck of a time trying to recover that car out of 4.
And as I was just talking about them here, Chris Roberts and Kyle Stoltz, they're going to be looking for these kind of mistakes to make their way, as they've fallen back just a little bit on these guys. Pretty much all smooth sailing outside of that is Kyle Stoltz and Chris Roberts. Certainly the battle to watch at the moment, as the rest of the field relatively well spaced for the time being.
And you can see just how much slower it is on that inside line. The 93 of Roberts just trying to keep the back end of that car under control. As their middle lane now looks as though it is really starting to marble up, especially in turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4 is not as much, but 1 and 2, it almost looks like a fresh line on the middle.
Absolutely. And I mean, these guys are starting to move up. I think, after really kind of having some speed there in the bottom, is Jake Greenwood now taking a look back down to the inside. He had a really good run on these two. Is a big slider for Sansoni. Can he stick it? No. Rusty Kruger with all the drive coming off the corner, and we've got a 3-wide battle for the lead.
Yeah, this has been absolutely fantastic. Sansoni dives it in hard once again, almost puts the rear wheel in the outside wall coming through 4. It's going to be Kruger that leads the lap, but Sansoni is learning exactly what he needs to do, and unfortunately, class might be over, because here comes Jake Greenwood to make it even more interesting.
And what a battle between these guys, just so respectful of each other. As you see Rusty not using up the whole track on Sansoni, being really generous to him there, as Greenwood trying to capitalize on a mistake by one of the two as they battle, as he's going to find the wall in turn 3 and lose some time.
So as it sits right now, the top 3 have 5 race wins of the 9 races total. Kruger has 4, winning the first 3 rounds, and last week Jake Greenwood winning 3 rounds ago at Knoxville. Sansoni, the only one to have not won a race, and this could be very, very big for Sansoni if he can hold on. Lost 3 positions in the standings last week, only 12 points behind Kevin Hanley, who is not here tonight. So this could be a massive points night, especially if Sansoni can get the win.
With 10 to go, it's all Sansoni. Rusty obviously not going to let him go easy here. Followed, I'm sorry, I missed it there. Greenwood, Kyle Stoltz, and Chris Roberts still battling it out back there. One on the bottom, one using an oval line. And after that, quite the gap to Detweiler after starting up in the front of the field, currently sitting 6th. He rallied back a couple positions. He certainly got the speed, but maybe too little too late.
And Detweiler again, who had won the first heat. Kyle Moonen has had an incident in that number 24. Here he is on the outside, hits the wall, rides it, and then decides to pull it off in that 24. So Moonen's night is done as we go back up to the race leader, Vinny Sansoni. The biggest race lead out of anyone for the night at any point, currently sitting at 0.7 of a second. And here with this graphic, you can see how it's grown over Rusty Kruger and still growing now out over a second.
He found the wall a little bit in turns 1 and 2, but able to gather it back up. This is really going to help Rusty in that points battle between him and Mike Keegan. Mike Keegan currently sitting back in that 9th spot after starting 11th. So not a bad night for him, but not going to help a whole lot in his boat for the championship.
No, absolutely not. As Keegan on the verge of being lapped here. He's the last car on the lead lap, as I believe he might have throughputed here with just 2 laps to go here. Vinny Sansoni on the verge of winning his first race of the season here, and he's got a little bit less than a half a mile to do it, now a quarter mile. 1 more lap to go for Vinny Sansoni. A night, at least for the 410s, that has been as quick as you like it. Sansoni, it has an issue. Sansoni's pulling off. It's going to be Rusty Kruger to take the win. No way. Sansoni, did he run out of fuel?
I really don't know. I didn't expect that.
I didn't either. I was getting ready to call Sansoni's victory. Unbelievable finish. What in the world happened there? Let's ride on board here. We'll ride on board. This is onboard Sansoni, takes the white. He ran out of gas. Car shuts off coming out of turn 2. Oh, man. You hear it so often in oval racing. Man, if I would have just had 1 more lap of fuel.
Wow.
That's usually a mile. This was a quarter mile. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I believe, yes, your race winner is in, Ben. You are with him.
Rusty, in a surprise win here for you. Glad to be talking to you again, per the usual. Really great run, and you guys put on an absolute show. Unfortunate to see Vinny run out of gas there, but what really gave you the edge to find your way to the front tonight?
Honestly, a whole lot of freaking luck, man. That's all I gotta say.
It was, you and Vinny really battling it out for, gosh, man, that had to have been 25, 30 laps there. What was your key to, sticking around with him, as I think for a good amount of that time, you were the leader to his follow?
I mean, at first I knew the bottom was decent, so I tried my best to hold my line there, and sometimes I'd clear him off the corner, sometimes I wouldn't. I was just trying my best to hold my line down there and try and get some grip off, and eventually I cleared him, but then as the race went on, the bottom went away, so I kind of felt like a fish out of water trying to run the top, and he was kind of doing it better than me, so once I saw him pulling away, I kind of was like, all right, we'll run second here, get a good points tonight, and then all of a sudden he ran out of field. I was like, oh, that doesn't happen often.
I mean, I was speechless. I had nothing to say to it. But for you, taking advantage of that, really gonna give you quite a points advantage, as Mike Keegan only able to get his way up to 8th tonight, as that's gonna give you an advantage going into next week at Lanier.
I'm not sure how the rest of the season went, but I think he can, throw this one away as a drop week. But we have one too with the Grove incident. Obviously, he's going to be out for revenge next week. So we're just going to try our best to keep everyone behind us.
Heading towards Lanier, kind of in this bull ring kind of run in the season right now. Is that something that you're looking forward to and getting another one of these really racy shows?
I hope so. Lanier sometimes puts the best racing that iRacing can have on this service when it comes to dirt. Everyone will be trying their best to hug the seam or try and pound the fence down. So we're going to see what works for us the best for that racetrack and hopefully give a good show for the fans.
Just like you did here tonight, that's for sure. We had fun watching it. Who do you want to thank for making you so fast here tonight from Limaland?
I know I sound like a broken record when I say this, but I got to thank the boys over at Speed Lab and Slick. They build the most comfortable setups for me, and also Dirty Old Bastards for putting on a phenomenal league. I look forward to coming here every Thursday, and of course the Esports Broadcasting Network broadcasting this fine program so people like my girlfriend could watch and see why I can't hang out with her tonight.
Well, hey, congratulations on another win here as we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, boys. Have a good one.
Yeah, getting to start in front of them was nice, but all it takes is one mistake with those guys. They do not really mess up. And once I put her in the fence, that sent both of them by me, and I was following them pretty good, I thought. And a couple other mistakes, they'd get away from me a little bit, but then Vinny running out there, I saw him slow down, and I was like, "Ah, sweet, second place." So I'll take a second place for sure. Oh yeah, it absolutely is. That's probably something I definitely need to practice more is short tracks here in these 410s. I do a little bit of 360 stuff, but I definitely need some more to try to keep up with those guys. Those guys are really good, and uh, kind of tried some stuff tonight, and it seemed to work. Uh, Qualifying wasn't too bad, so I was a little worried about that, and so I was really impressed there. And then holding on to it in the heat race, was happy with that. So definitely a successful night, and looking forward to the next one here. Definitely going to look to get a setup together in advance here instead of trying to put one together here in the practice. And we'll see if I can give those guys hell. Definitely Chris Roberts for putting this league on. No matter what series you're running, it really is a blast. He does a heck of a job. A team Most Wanted Motorsports, those guys are great, helping out and trying to get faster and faster every week. That Weller Designs for the awesome looking paint. Design Metal Art. Check him out on Facebook. He's got some great customizable race fan items you need to check out and get your loved ones. And then Jessup Logistics, and you guys for coming on board and doing this broadcast for them. Thank you.
Kyle, really great run here tonight. One of the biggest movers of the night as you and Chris put on an absolute show for the majority of that race, man. It was fun to watch. Take us through it.
I just started on the bottom and was clicking along down there, stayed down there and made it work.
A certain dominance for you guys off the bottom, as you alluded to there. A lot of guys choosing the top side. Was that more of a preference, or was that more of a, the track was there in that section to give you a better run here?
Yeah, track was there. It's a smaller field tonight. So, like I said, I started down there and it was cooking around the bottom. So I just stuck with it. I moved up in the middle of the race when Chris got around me and then went back to the bottom and got back by him and just stuck with it.
Unfortunate for I'm sorry, who was it? Sansoni
Vinny,
running
yeah.
out of gas on the last lap there. But fortunate for you to pick up the podium finish here tonight. Who do you want to thank for even being in contention for that kind of run?
I just thank Chris and Dirty Old Bastards for putting this show on. It's fun racing with these guys. These guys are fast, so just to get on the podium and be talking to you is cool. Don't have the speed usually to run up there with them guys, but thank you guys for doing the broadcast.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for joining us, and congratulations on the podium finish tonight.
I appreciate it.
All right, so that was your third place finisher, Kyle Stoltz, and I feel like an absolute dope because I had my mic off that entire time that I was interviewing our second place finisher tonight, Jake Greenwood. You heard his side, and that's the most important side to hear. So right now we did get word during the interview session that the Big Block Series will be starting at 10 o'clock. So we still have about 10 minutes of filler. And Ben, this was an incredibly quick race here tonight, a very fun race here tonight for the 410s. Short track, quick racing, very, very clean. Not a lot of drivers here tonight, but still a very, very clean race for such a small track.
Yeah, absolutely. Caution free from beginning to end, if I'm not mistaken. So, and really good quality racing too. Like you said, that low car count. I had asked a couple of them there, about whether it was a preference to be on the bottom versus the top, or if it was a track thing. And pretty much everybody alluding to that the track was there for that, which isn't something that they normally have to work with when there's 20, 30 cars on a race night and you're running 5 heat races and a full warm up with 25 cars on the track. So really good racing here tonight, as we have like I said, come to expect out of these guys. Nothing more, nothing less, that's for certain. And a huge thank you to all these guys for coming out and putting on these shows for us and giving us something to commentate on.
Yeah, absolutely right. And we'll try to see if we could get the results on the screen for you here. The session has come to an end. Oh, yep, we got them. Tonight's results, it's going to be Rusty Kruger taking his 5th victory of the season, his 2nd consecutive victory on the year. Jake Greenwood, Kyle Stoltz rounding out the podium finishers. You just heard from them. Chris Roberts and Darren Detweiler round out the top 5. Randy Shreves comes home in 6th. Tyler Henselman, got it right, first try, comes home in 7th. Mike Keegan finishing in 8th. A heartbreaker for Vinny Sansoni, running out of fuel on the last lap from the race lead, comes home 9th. Kyle Moonen, Tyson Landis, and Aaron Schaefer coming home 10th, 11th, and 12th. those guys did not finish. So what we're going to do is we are going to kill a little bit of time here before we go and officially take the break that we are expecting to take. We're also expecting Ryan Williams to be in the booth for the 410 race, and I will lay out and just bring you the action, so to speak. But as we look ahead here for the network, I would also like to, well, before we look ahead, I would like to look back. This past Sunday night, we ran 2 events simultaneously. We ran the debut of the Medieval Racing League, and we ran the Majors Series Musket 250 from New Hampshire. 2 incredibly great races, an incredibly fun night on both accounts. If you go back and watch both races, it was an absolute blast all night long to watch. But we also hit a very major milestone with this network. We've been trying. I got here, and I want to say either June or July, and we had just within the first couple of weeks of me being with the network, we had just hit 1,000 subscribers, and that was after this network had been on the air for about 2.5 to 3 years. In the 9 to 10 month time that I've been here, we've hit 1,500, and we did that during the double feature on Sunday night. A huge milestone, and we'd like to thank all of you who have been watching us for all this time, that have subscribed to us for all this time, that show us all the love and support that you can possibly show us. Thank you so much. It means the absolute world to us. And for guys like Ben and Ryan, who just got here, are becoming staples and are becoming regular voices here on the network, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We thank you for your contribution in trying to help us, 1, keep this going, and 2, help us grow.
Absolutely. And, it's my pleasure to be here. I hope that you guys enjoy watching this racing as much as I enjoy calling it. If you couldn't tell, I really enjoy it, whether it be, here with the 410 sprint cars or with the big block modifieds of the dirty old bastards, several different leagues that they have, or on Tuesday nights when I call Western States Racing League at 10:05. That's always a blast. If you never check that out, stop over there and check that out. And as Frank said, with these couple of other, new series that we picked up that are really, really interesting to watch. If you've never checked out the MX5 Cup cars that we broadcast, I've watched it every time that we've broadcasted it now. It's an absolute blast. Go check that out. And if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the notifications bell so that you never miss any of the ESBN content.
Yeah, absolutely. We have links to our Facebook page, our Twitter page, our Twitch page, which we're trying to help grow that. We're simulcast on, instead of on YouTube and Facebook, we're simulcast on YouTube and Twitter now, Twitch now. So we are trying to grow that page. All of the links are down in the description of this race. And again, we thank you all so much for helping make this channel what it has become, and it's been an absolutely incredible ride for all of us here. We're going to do something. We know that Tony, Byron, and Sam are going to be getting tattoos of the ESBN logo on them somewhere. When that will happen, we're not quite sure. Sam is the only one that's really available to get a tattoo at the moment. We know Byron's on the road, and after the Sim Racers Edge race at Chicagoland coming up on 3 weeks ago now, Tony is still in hospital, dealing with what I believe is side effects from him having COVID. He still has not completely nipped up from that. So of course we're wishing Tony the best and to get well soon. But once again, we will take a look now at the rest of the week here. on ESBN. The Medieval Racing League will run their Daytona 500 coming up on Sunday night. That will be our next broadcast after tonight. That will be at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Coming up on Monday will be the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. They will be at Richmond, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time for that. A double dip on Tuesday, as Ben had mentioned both of these races. The UK Sim Racing's MX5 Pro Series from Lime Rock at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. We do apologize for not bringing you the race from the Nürburgring Nordschleife last week. Unfortunately, all of us were kind of tied up on that one, unfortunately. And being such a unique time on the East Coast, we were not able to bring you that race. So we do apologize for missing the race at the Nordschleife last week. And then the nightcap will be the Western States Racing League. They will be at Nashville at 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming up on Wednesday night will be yet another double dip, as the Endurance for Beginners series, which you guys have really blown that series up. It has been one heck of a watch so far here these last two races. Last week getting 202 views already, and that was just yesterday. The opening race of the season hit 286 views, and immediately becoming our most watched series behind the Major Series in just its first two races. We love that love and support that we're showing, that we're seeing on the Endurance for Beginners series. Keep that up, as on Wednesday night they head for round number 3 at Le Mans. That will be a lot of fun in the GTE and GT3s. Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series will be at Michigan coming up next Wednesday night. And then from there, it'll be back to the DOB series, and then a full slate of racing over the course of the weekend. But for right now, we are going to stop stalling, and we will get into the Big Block series coming up right on the other side of this break. Don't go anywhere. Well, with one of the two races officially out of the way, we now go to the second of two. We have come back to Cedar Lake Speedway in New Richmond for tonight's round number 10 for the Big Block Modified Series here on ESBN. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the DOB, and welcome back to ESBN as we get set to bring you round 10 action. Once again, I am Frank Marchese, Ben Bruno alongside me. Ryan will not be taking part in the race tonight as he is stuck at work. Ben, we just saw an absolutely fantastic race at Limaland in the 410s. We have a lot more drivers here. Only 12 drivers able to make the 410 race. We have 18 here tonight for Cedar Lake in these big blocks. It is going to be one hell of a show.
Absolutely, and a lot of familiar faces here again. Darren Detweiler, Tyler Henselman, Kevin Click, Chris Roberts, Kyle Stoltz, Randy Shrews, Mike Keegan, Aaron Schaefer. All these guys running the 410, so got a little bit of a warm-up. I'm sure most of these other guys probably been running some racing this evening, but series regulars specific to the big block modifieds: Brock Harris, Jeremy Prey, the quickest in practice right now, followed by Jake Greenwood. Had a great a run here tonight in the 410 sprint cars just before this. If you didn't catch it, go back and watch it when you get a minute. But going to be a really great show for these guys here from the action-packed Cedar Lake.
Yeah, absolutely. And the 410s were here last week, I believe, and put on one heck of a show there as well. We'll take a look at the point standings for the big blocks coming into tonight's third to last race of the season. Mike Keegan currently sitting second in the 410 points, is sitting in the lead here in the big block points by a very small margin, a 14-point margin over Kevin Hanley in the 110. Kevin Hanley is here tonight for this big block race. Chris Roberts sitting 60 points behind. So just in the same way we saw in the 410 series, it's really a two-car battle here to see who will take the championship after these last three races.
And really good racing, the past couple weeks. As last week at Eldora, 4 different leaders, 3 lead changes, 6 cautions. So a couple of cautions last week at Eldora, but these guys always put on a great show, because the thing about the big block modified is there's a lot of skill required to get this car around the bottom or the top of Cedar Lake in throttle control, steering input. And if you're too heavy on the gas at a place like this, it's not going to bode well for you.
No, absolutely not. I drove here back in the, was it the 305s? Is the slowest form of the wing sprint car, yes?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I drove here in the 305s, and I had more than I could handle. But then again, I'm not a dirt racer. As we watch Tyler Henselman circulate the track here. Only a minute and 15 seconds to go here. Tonight's race is a part of the final 3 races. USA International next week, and then the season finale at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. A big racetrack last week at Eldora. A little bit smaller here, but still plenty of room for action. Another big, long track, a lot like Williams Grove, coming up next week at USA International. And then I cannot think of a better way to finish a season than going to Charlotte.
Absolutely not. I've had the pleasure to go and watch the Dirt Track World Finals at Charlotte in real life once, and I'll be going again this year. So, really some of the best racing of that entire weekend. I'm really a late model guy. I help crew on a late model, but the best racing in the modifieds for sure all weekend, because of the way that they handle the momentum at that place. So it creates really great racing, and especially in the simulator here with iRacing, it's one of my favorite tracks to run.
Yeah, Absolutely, and these cars are not all that difficult to handle, and if a non-dirt guy is saying that, you know that this is a very good car. So again, 18 drivers are here as of this moment. So we are going to be expecting 3 heat races of 6 is what I would be expecting after this qualifying session here that we will get through to see who will be in what heat. And right now it is the 117 of Jeremy Prey, who is the first driver out on track. Mason Hannigan, who finished second last week, is out on track as well. So a lot of guys taking to the racetrack early.
And Brock Garris as well. Gonna try to make a good cut here tonight. He's always quick, gotta watch out for him. You know that we're gonna be talking about him all night as our first times coming in. Jeremy Prey, quickest with a 13.643, followed by Garris at a 13.859, and Mason Hannigan in third with a 13.859. So as it's getting shuffled up even worse right now and quick.
Absolutely. There's the 28 of Jeff Sharp coming around to complete what would be his second lap. Sharp trying to improve on a 13.84. Cannot do that. Kevin Click now coming across the line in the 14. Click will hold it in 9th position at the moment. Daniel Blau in the 17. Love the reflective numbers on these cars.
Yeah, you know, it's something that I run on my car. It's definitely a trendy thing right now to have some shine on your car somewhere, whether it be in an accenting decal or your number or you know, you're obviously not the nose or anything, but certainly trendy to be doing that. As Jeremy Prey able to hold on to that quick qualifying spot still with a 13.643, followed by Mason Hannigan at a 13.788 and Jeff Sharp in third at a 13.841.
We just saw Kyle Stoltz finish his qualifying effort, so we'll now take a look and see what the first of 3 heats, we'll see how they will line up. Jeremy Prey, the overall pole sitter, will qualify in P1 for tonight's race. Joshua Pickle to his outside. Russell Berry and Kevin Hanley will make up row 2. Row 3 will go to Aaron Schaefer and Chris Roberts for the first of 3 heat races here tonight at Cedar Lake Speedway. It's a very wide, very big racetrack, but still, just as with most any dirt car, momentum is going to be key in these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, really before the bottom gets too used up, there's a good amount of speed there. But like I talked about, really have to be conservative on the throttle. Something that is not my specialty here is really using that cushion momentum, but I know that there's a lot of it there for a good amount of the race when the track life is pretty early, like it is right now. But as you can see, a little bit of dryness and a slick coming into the turn towards the middle top side of the track right now.
Yep, absolutely. Right where these guys would be starting to sling the back end around to get their cars through these corners, as Prey and Pickle will be the first 2 to set a racing lap around here, as the pace truck is getting set to duck on off. Green flag is in the air, and we are racing. Another 10-lap run of heats is underway.
And smooth sailing for Jeremy Prey down into turn 3. Joshua Pickle using the middle of the track as they're one by one at the beginning of this race, followed by Hanley as they're getting 3 wide there. Kevin Hanley, Chris Roberts, Russell Berry getting real shuffled up. Aaron Schaefer with a front view for that battle.
Yeah, Russell Berry might be a little bit a little bit upset after that qualifying run. He was in the middle of 3 and 4 when the qualifying ended, so he could have possibly qualified a little bit higher than he actually did in that 048, pardon me. So he's sitting right now in the back trying to make up for time. Just mistimed his qualifying run.
Halfway down, halfway to go here, Frank, as Chris Roberts, we will take 4 directly into the feature. He's currently sitting on that bubble spot, and he's got Russell Berry all over his tail.
Boy, you can see how much the back end of Barry's car, really bouncing around through 1 and 2. Again, not being a dirt guy, what would cause how much that car is bouncing around? Could that be a setup issue, or is that a track condition?
Well, at a place like this, as you run, and early on in this track, I don't think it's quite as severe. It really does get bumpy coming in and going out in certain spots. I wouldn't say in all 4 turns, but it's really bumpy. So if you're really wanting that thing to sit on the right front and lift the left front off the ground, you're probably going to see a lot more movement and less stability in that car.
Speaking of a guy who does not have any lack of stability right now, it is the pilot of the 117, Jeremy Prey, who leads from pillar to post here in heat number 1, coming through corner number 4, checkered flag in the air, and Jeremy Prey has won heat number 1 from the pole.
Really all smooth sailing there for Prey. Really good run for everybody there. No real incidents or anything like that, so really clean racing. As we take a look at heat number 2, Mason Hannigan going to start on the point.
Well, before we
go
into that, let's take a look at the results from heat number 1. Jeremy Prey, Joshua Pickle, Kevin Hanley, and Russell Berry ended up making the pass, beating Chris Roberts out by 2/100ths of a second at the line to transfer into the main, and Aaron Schaefer rounds out the field there. And now, Ben, more than welcome, the grid for heat
got
number 2.
A little bit excited there. Mason Hannigan going to start us off. Brock Garris to the outside of him off pole. Daniel Blow in the 17 car, or Blau, one way or the other. If you know, let me know. Kevin Click 4th, Jake Greenwood 5th, and Randy Shreves in 6th for heat number 2.
I would be very, very comfortable saying that it was Blau. Would be the last name there, as Pace Truck is going to be getting set to jump on off here. All of these guys that we're seeing here, except for Shreves and Greenwood, who are going to be starting 5th and 6th, only one race here tonight. The 2 at the back ran in the 410 race. Green flag is back in the air. Heat number 2 is off and running as Mason Hannigan takes the lead, and boy, a big run through turns 1 and 2 as the 14 of Click, Blau, and Greenwood 3 wide.
And what a shuffle getting started here. Right now, all Mason Hannigan, but the 64 Brock Harris not letting go easy. As you can see, Mason really sticking to the bottom, and Brock Harris using that middle line free, tacky track. Is almost contact there between him and Blau. That could have been interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. We're riding on board, showing you what Randy Shreves is seeing out of his big block modified, as those drivers battling for position out in front of him. Again, Greenwood is in the transfer spot. Click is not in the 14. As boy, you're really having to work this car, and Greenwood able to make up a lot of time on that inside line. Quite different from what we saw just a minute ago in the 410s.
Halfway down, and really good battles as Brock Harris and Mason Hannigan traded lines there for a minute, and Mason slides way up the track, but not able to make up enough time is Brock Harris.
You're not kidding. Mason Hannigan went way up the racetrack and just set the best lap overall here for this heat as we have 3 laps to go. The first one to dip sub 14 and 13.90 for the driver of the 1X. Mason Hannigan doing an absolutely fantastic job as we come up to the penultimate lap.
Mason Hannigan gonna bring him by the flag stand for the last time here. And that's gonna be a heat race win for Hannigan.
Expecting that heat race win. He's got a 1.3 second lead. Coming through turns 3 and 4, and Nostradamus he is. Good job, Ben. For heat race win number 2 for Mason Hannigan.
It always gets me.
You're all good, bud. Like I just left my mic off for the last interview, so you're all good. Results here. Results here for heat number 2. Mason Hannigan takes that win pretty fair-handedly. 1.3 seconds essentially over Brock Garris, Jake Greenwood. Daniel Blau ends up making it into the feature. Randy Shreves and Kevin Click will go into the consi, which will come up, I believe, right after we get through with heat number 3, Ben.
Jeff Sharp gonna start on the point in the 28 car. Mike Keegan to his outside. Mike always fast here in these modifieds. Tyler Henselman in 3rd. Kyle Stoltz in 4th. Darren Detweiler in 5th in that 3 car. Followed by Nathan Kropachevsky.
Kropachevsky is
Kropachevsky. Sorry.
That's what we'll go with. I'm not too sure on that one either. So we'll leave you with the hard one. Fortunately, Nathan. Fortunately for us having to call it out, Nathan does not appear as though he will be participating in this this sprint race here, as it appears as though it'll just be the 5 drivers that you see on screen right now. And again, this one features the current points leader, Mike Keegan, who will be starting on the outside of the front row here for this race. Green flag is in the air. Heat number 3 is underway.
And a good jump for Jeff Sharp as he's going to slide up in front of Keegan. Probably not a bad move at all, but down on the bottom side in the 21 car, Tyler Henselman going to make Kyle Stoltz work for that 4th and final spot as we have a good battle brewing up here as the whole field of 5 really shuffled up amongst each other.
Yeah, this has been by far and away the closest race as Sharp and Keegan now battling for the race lead. Sharp on the outside in the 28. Keegan in the X has just cleared Sharp for that race lead here, working with 7 laps to go. And this has by far been the most competitive of the 3 heat races thus far. Look at Kyle Stoltz, finished 3rd just a minute ago in the 410 race. He is all over the inside line here. Darren Detweiler also giving it quite a run on the outside line. He won heat number 1 tonight, the very first heat race in the 410s.
He is absolutely beating down the outside wall, as is Mike Keegan in the lead, beating down the wall as well. Really the only one truly committed to the bottom at this time, Kyle Stoltz, not having a bad run using it, as he's got the nose to the 28 of Jeff Sharp for the 2nd spot. See if he can make that stick here coming towards the front stretch.
Right on those tires on the inside is Stoltz. The question is he going to be able to work up enough of a run on that inside to have that straight line momentum, as now Darren Detweiler is about to get around him on the outside in the 3. A little bit of contact there as now Detweiler goes to the middle trying to get around Jeff Sharp in the 28 and will successfully as the white flag comes out.
And what a race we have seen here Mike Keegan smooth sailing, followed by Detweiler and Jeff Sharp. Kyle Stoltz, another really big run on the bottom as a heat race win for Mike Keegan.
Yep, another very good run for Keegan as the lights go down a little bit here at Cedar Lake. We will bring you the dash now before the consolation race as the Heat 3 results look as follows. Mike Keegan, Darren Detweiler, Kyle Stoltz, Jeff Sharp, Tyler Henselman, and Nathan Kropacheski is the way they will finish for Heat number 3. We're just waiting to see who will be taking part and where they will be starting in the heat race, in the dash race here coming up. And while they do that, we'd like to remind you once again that coming up on Sunday night will be the Daytona 500 for a new series here to the network, the Medieval Racing League, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday night. The Rowdy Energy Cup Series will return coming up on Monday at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. The third and final of this little string of short track races, they will be at Richmond. A double dip on Tuesday will see the UK Sim Racing's MX5 Pro Series at Lime Rock Speedway, or at Lime Rock Raceway, pardon me, starting at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on Tuesday night will be the Western States Racing League. They will be at the Nashville Fairgrounds for round 14 of their season. That season already starting to wind down as they are in round 14 of 20 on, I believe, if I remember correctly, their 44th season as a league. And they have done absolutely incredible work as we run through this warm-up session here.
And can we take a look at somebody's in-car cam, give these guys a real good view of how this track is slicking up and the amount of throttle control that is truly being used, whether they're running the top or the bottom? Get a good idea for where the slick is at.
Absolutely. We're riding on board, or at least we were there for a second with Jake Greenwood. There he is. Well, we'll try to find somebody with a little bit more connection stability. We'll go with Jeremy Prey here, the Heat 1 winner. Prey working the inside line, and you can really hear the amount of throttle control that Prey is having to work as he tries not to run into the back of Russell Berry. Now he's going to put the hammer down and just listen to listen to that throttle control that he has to use here.
And that wall sure comes up quick when you're running the top. There's certainly a certain amount of throttle control to being fast on the top. Anybody can hold it hammered down around the top if you can keep it out of the wall, but not the quickest way around the track either.
No, absolutely not. You can see that slick line is also starting to form around this place, and that's another thing that these guys have to watch out for as the night goes on, which is why if I am a rookie dirt driver, I know that the drier the track gets, the worse my car handles. I am flipping out that these guys are running as many laps as they are right now. As we take a look at Mason Hannigan, who currently tops the times, and Keegan just, whoops. So that will end this practice session with a bang, as we will now work into the feature here for tonight's race. So a little bit of a format shift from what we were expecting, but in any event, we are here for this, I believe, yes, a 40-lap feature, yes?
Yes, 40 laps. One extra parade lap so that everybody can get sorted out. And 40 laps the distance. Take a look at our starting order here, if you wouldn't mind, Frank.
Yeah, of course. So it'll be Jeremy Prey and Mason Hannigan, or at least this is the way. Again, this is the way these guys are going to order up right now. Jeremy Prey and Mason Hannigan will be 1 and 2. Mike Keegan, Joshua Pickle, who we're still waiting to enter. There he is. Make up row 2 at the moment. Brock Garris and Darren Detweiler in row 3. Kevin Hanley and Jake Greenwood in row 4. Kyle Stoltz and Russell Berry in row 5. Row 6 will go to Daniel Blau and Jeff Sharp. Row 7 will go to Chris Roberts and Randy Shreves. Tyler Henselman and Aaron Schaefer will make up row 8, and row 9 will go to Kevin Click and Nathan Kropacheski. So that is at least the way these guys will line up. Kropacheski will not partake in the event tonight, so it'll be 17 drivers trying to work their magic around this place. As Ben, I believe it looks like Darren Detweiler is going to take the pole with Brock Garris to his outside.
And Mason Hannigan opting to move to the rear of the field to start this race. Brock Garris looks like, if I can call this out correctly here, I know it's Brock Garris on the outside and Detweiler on point, Mike Keegan in 4th, and the 117 of Prey in 3rd.
Got it going so far. So
the redraw, I'm just trying to sort out the redraw in my head. Unless you already highlighted it and I missed it.
No, you're all good. You know what? Actually, we'll let you start this feature here tonight. Take it away, Ben.
Fantastic. Detweiler looking for another good finish. He's going to fire. The green flag is in the air, followed by the 64 of Garris to the top side.
Oh, and a big wreck in the back. Already cars up and over. That's the 28 of Sharp. Russell Berry is there. Ryan Shreves is there. Boy, and that was a big one here to start this evening. As we'll take a look back and see what happened. Here's Kevin Hanley. Hanley sitting 2nd place in points right now. Spun around by Kyle Stoltz, and then Sharp bringing Russell Berry into it, and that was cause of the first caution of the night as we ride on board with Russell Berry. Boy, Berry just trying to stay out of the way, and little did he know Jeff Sharp was right there. There's Jeff Sharp up and over on his lid. So we'll see the start of this here. This is from focusing on that 28 of Berry and just plows it in. The 56 doing the same. And Hannigan, as you had mentioned, Ben, Hannigan deciding to start from the back. Fortunately for him, missed everything.
And that's when you do that, that can be the benefit of it. It can really help you out, move up quick. Is Detweiler going to bring the field back to green into turn 1, followed by the 64 Brock Garris and the 117 with a really nice run off the bottom. See if he can find some moisture down there.
Trying to do everything he can as Joshua Pickle and Mike Keegan getting into it. A little bit of contact between the 33 and the X. There's Jake Greenwood sitting there battling as well. 2nd place finisher from the 410s was Jake Greenwood. Kyle Stoltz, who was 3rd place finisher from the 410s, sitting right behind. He has everything he could possibly ask for as far as a battle goes from Daniel Blau. Blau goes to the inside, slides up, takes the position, but Stoltz has the momentum. He's going to bring the charge back to the inside.
And you can really see these guys have slicked this track off quite a bit through the warm-up session. It's making it a lot tougher to get off the bottom. If you miss your entry by just a little bit too much or have a little bit too much momentum going in there, push you up into the slick, as we saw like a lap ago from the 117, Jeremy Prayed was able to get by Brock Ayers for the second spot from that.
Absolutely riding on board with Jake Greenwood in the 43. And you can just hear there's not much throttle through these corners. My goodness, and a lot of steering back to the right to try to keep that back end in line, and also trying to keep those cars at bay on the outside line. It's a very difficult thing to do here around this place.
3 wide for Brock Ayers, Mike
comes out
Keegan,
here.
and it was Greenwood down on the bottom right as the caution came out. What a race between those 3. I think it was 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. As we'll take a look and see what caused this caution here. My timing and scoring is showing Kevin Click. Here's the 14. Battling with Mason Hannigan, and Click just a little too overzealous going into turn 3 and slung the car around against the wall.
And unfortunately for Kevin, that's going to send him to the end of the longest line. After having a good run early on.
So again, caution laps not counting here in this series, which is why you're seeing the ticker at the top of your screen go mental. As we are just about to start lap number 10 once we go back to green flag racing. And already we've seen a lot of close racing. Detweiler was able to get out scot-free, but Jeremy Prey, Joshua Pickle, Brock Garris, Mike Keegan, Jake Greenwood, all of those guys were locked in heavy battle.
Absolutely. As the iRacing pace truck lights are off, and he will dip to the infield. It's going to be Darren Detweiler first to the loud pedal. And he does just that. A really good start for Detweiler. Is Pickle able to take advantage of the 117, perhaps spinning his wheels off, and he is all over Darren Detweiler.
Look who's already up here towards the front. Mason Hannigan again had started at the back of the field for this feature. He is already up into the 6th position, battling Brock Garris for that 6th position in the 1X. Also looking further back, Mike Keegan has had an absolutely horrific run of luck now, back into 15th off of that restart.
And they were 4 wide for a minute as Kyle Stoltz really coming to here, really switching up his lines quite a bit from top to bottom to top and making it work. He's definitely got speed in that car tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. There is the 01 of Kyle Stoltz. Trying to battle with Daniel Blau in the 17. Brock Garris in the 64, now starting to fall a little bit backwards now, actually, as Chris Roberts in the 93 has all that he can handle and more, with Randy Shreves, as those 3 team cars there are all right there. The 93 of Roberts, Aaron Schaefer, and Tyler Henselman. The 77 and 21 are all right there, currently running in 9th, 11th, and 12th.
And a couple laps ago, Pickle taking a look to the inside of Detweiler. He almost got the job done, but Detweiler just too strong on the top early on. As you mentioned, these guys behind him, if anybody makes a mistake, this is anybody's race here right now in the top, what, here, 5? I think it's 5 of them under the blanket here in the form of Detweiler, Pickle, Hannigan, Greenwood, and Jeremy Prey now falling back quite a bit.
Prey restarted up in the 2nd position. He is now fallen back to 5th. Jake Greenwood starting to move forward, but not nearly as much as the man who currently drives in the 1X, Mason Hannigan, has absolutely flown through this field, missed the accident on lap 1. He has now gotten up into 3rd position behind Joshua Pickle and Darren Detweiler. That 1X is on a mission tonight.
He got a little bit into the wall. Hope that he didn't pick up too much damage on the right front. He really caught into the wall quite a bit, as you saw riding along earlier. That wall comes up quick, and Greenwood gonna throw his hat in the shuffle. He's gonna have a big run of momentum on the top. Can he close the door? No. Greenwood temporarily to the third spot, and he's looking for more.
Mason Hannigan won round number 7 at Williams Grove. Jake Greenwood, won the very next time out at Limaland in that number 43 as Pickle and Detweiler had a big moment on the inside. That's going to allow Greenwood around. Did he get there before the caution came out? My timing and scoring would suggest he did not, but it looks as though Randy Shreves had the issue here in the 56. Take a look at battling with Hanley. And Hanley just kind of gets that bar up under him and sends him around.
What a race that we have brewing up there. I mean, that whole time, you know, especially with Greenwood, with the big move to get into the top 3. And it looked like he's on rails, man. He's on a mission. He has something for these two up front. I think obviously Hannigan, one of the quicker ones in the field, he's not gonna fall back quickly. I'm sure of that. Hopefully he didn't get too much damage when he caught the wall there. Ever since Greenwood able to make pretty quick work of him though.
I want to show you what happened between Pickle and Detweiler, but these dadgum caution laps go by so quick here as we get set to go back to green flag racing already. There goes Detweiler. We are off and running again. Jake Greenwood trying to get that advantage that Pickle had on the inside. Can't quite do it. That outside line right now is the line to be in as Detweiler goes inside to outside, trying to extend that lead. However, Pickle has the momentum on the outside.
And as you see Detweiler move from bottom to top there, if he gets, you know, too much of a slider, that's really going to open up the door for Greenwood on the bottom, as he's going to lose that spot, a couple of spots now, to Pickle and Hannigan. Unfortunate there. That's what happens when you stick around the bottom for too long at a track like this.
And Hannigan with that little bump to Pickle going into turn 1. We were riding on board for that, is able to make the move on the outside line. 14 laps to go. Tyler Henselman has had an issue in the 21. He has fallen back down to 15th. We'll show you that when we get a second. Now Jake Greenwood, as you mentioned, doing to Joshua Pickle what everyone just did to him up at the front, pinning him on the inside, trying to make the momentum move on the outside, as here comes Hannigan for the race lead, makes the slide, takes the lead, but Detweiler has the momentum, and Greenwood is right there.
And look out, Greenwood on the Larson line. He's got so much speed in that thing. I like to call it the Bobby Pierce, but he is absolutely giving it everything that he's got. After that little bit of contact, pushed him back a little bit, but
boy, there was a big shunt as Detweiler's in the wall. That 1X of Hannigan gave Detweiler quite a shove going into that corner, and it showed as Detweiler backs it into the wall. And now it's Mason Hannigan's race. It looks to lose as Greenwood and Detweiler battling now for the second spot, but Joshua Pickle still right there.
What a race. 7 laps, 8 laps to go here. And it's going to be interesting. Hannigan able to get back out to the front off of a big mistake, but without that, that's the kind of races that these guys have been putting on. You see it in the 410 sprint cars. You see it in the big block modified week in and week out. Every mistake is what matters with these guys, and they are sharp.
Absolutely. As Detweiler now trying to hold off Jake Greenwood in the 43. Greenwood's got a run of momentum gets to the inside. It's going to try a slide job on Detweiler, hoping Detweiler gets in the wall. Does not, and what a run those two have coming out of turn number 2. Detweiler able to hold on to the position, but Greenwood now has the momentum as he goes to the inside. Still these two battling for the second position. All the while, Greenwood gets into the wall. Hannigan starting to get away in that race lead as these two are having a great battle for second.
And Daniel Blau with a really good run here tonight, 11th to 5th. We talked about him all night.
Yep, there's Blau in the 17, and still Greenwood and Detweiler having a heck of a battle as we come down to 2 laps to go. Once we get to the other end of this circuit, Detweiler has the line on the outside. Greenwood puts the slide on, can't get the momentum, save, and really close. Those two get the 43 going into the wall. 2 laps to go here. Mason Hannigan currently in the lead. The battle, though, is for second. Joshua Pickle now getting into this battle, 3 wide, heading through turns 1 and 2. Detweiler's going to get away, but it's going to be Mason Hannigan taking his second checkered flag of the year. Your winner here for round 10 at Cedar Lake. Detweiler holds on for second, and Greenwood will get his second podium of the evening, finishing third.
Wow.
Incredibly fun race, and there is Hannigan sliding it through the infield. So we mentioned
What
Hannigan.
a run.
Yep, absolutely. Mentioned Hannigan's last win was back at Williams Grove on the 25th of March. And he will take the win here tonight. And Ben, you should be with him here momentarily as we will attempt to get the race winner up into the booth here. But what a great run from these guys all night long. A flawless 4:10 race, and then here tonight, these guys in the big blocks put on one heck of a show here tonight. So we are currently still working on getting our top 3 in here. As I've got the power now. Mason Hannigan. Mason, Ben should be with you right now.
Hey, Mason, really great run here tonight after electing to start at the tail of the field. Quite a bit of speed in the car tonight. Why was it that you were so fast?
Honestly, no clue. I just kind of throw in a setup that I have and run at every track, and it probably hooks up here the best. And I don't really know why.
The track looked really racy, so I mean, lots of grooves on the track early on, got pretty slick after the warm-up. However, how did that affect you in taking that EOL and making your way all the way to the front?
Yeah, I knew it was going to be a pretty good race and pretty interesting to get to the front there. Just because I knew people would venture and try the bottom, because the bottom had a lot of grip down there. It's just so hard to run it, and you probably needed a little bit higher of a gear to get around the bottom, and a little bit lower gear to get around the top.
Fell back a little bit later on in the race. I believe it might have been around lap 30. How did you persevere and get around those guys to get this big win?
Yeah, just kind of getting hung up on the top there, and I couldn't slide him because he's on the slider line, and even if I tried crossing him down, I wouldn't have the run, and so I knew once I had the chance to get into one and maybe slide him, I had to. So yeah, I knew once I get to Darren, we'd have a good race, but yeah, I don't know, we'll just take a win and on to next week.
Speaking of which, I was just about to ask you about next week as we look forward how do you continue on this great run that you're having in the points this year and try to get it done?
Yeah, I wish I was running for points, honestly, but I had to miss quite a few. I think it's like 8 weeks or so, just because I had sprint car stuff to attend. So yeah, no, I think I don't know, where does next week go?
USA next week. You gonna show up for us?
Oh yeah, yeah. USA's sometimes fun. Either sometimes it's really boring or sometimes it's really fun. But I guess we'll find out.
I can relate to that one. I know how USA can be. Who do you want to thank for getting on the point here tonight?
Yeah. And Motorsports, Tim Sims, UDTV. Can't thank Chris for putting on this league, and can't thank you guys for broadcasting. And we'll come back next week at USA and see where we end up.
Thanks for taking the time, Mason. Hopefully, see you next week at USA.
Yep.
All right, so that was your race winner here tonight. Just a moment, we'll get our second place finisher here in just a second. That would be Darren Detweiler, who had a very good night here tonight. Won the first heat race for the 410s. Is going to finish second here after starting on the pole. Had such a good run here tonight, and we'll get to chat with him right now. Darren Detweiler, you had a great run all night long. It looked as though Mason gave you a little bit of a nudge going into 3, and that's what put you in the wall and ended up putting you back.
Just one of those close racing. Those things are going to happen from time to time. No harm, no foul. But that was just a fun race tonight. Been a while since I've had that much fun in a 410, then jump in a big block and have it be the same way. And wow, what a car and what a race.
Yeah, it certainly was. We had seen all night long track conditions were a little bit tricky. It looked as though the definite place to be was the outside line, and very few guys were able to make that inside line work. What made the inside line so difficult in these cars specifically?
It's mostly just the weight and the speed you're carrying down into the corner. You have to whoa the car up really early, and then you have the weight acting against you, trying to get out of the corner. It's just difficult to run the bottom in these and be really effective unless you have a big, wide open track where you can really sweep it down into the corner and try to carry the momentum through. And Cedar Lake just doesn't have the straightaways wide enough to really capitalize and open up the corners real nice and wide to carry your speed. So it's best to, for the most part, just hook the top once the bottom gets slick. Just hook the top and hang on. And 3 and 4 is always kind of a slider line toward the end of the night. Just because the way the fence kind of squares off through 3 and 4. So if you drive it in a little too deep, you're in trouble in a hurry.
Yeah, going into a track with wide corners and short straightaways, we have the complete inverse coming up next week at USA International. What are your thoughts going down into Florida?
I'm actually pretty excited about a track with some decent straightaways. I feel like our team's got a pretty good setup that really capitalizes when we have a chance to really open up the car. We can get off the corner real well and really get some speed built up. USA has always been a decent track for me in these big blocks and even the small blocks. So hopefully I'll be able to put it toward the front again.
Well, we certainly hope so. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Definitely got to thank my team, Most Wanted Motorsports. Those guys, they've I wouldn't be here without them, without a doubt. Josh Backel, he threw a setup at me after I felt horrible in qualifying, and after that, the car felt amazing. I gave it one little tweak for the feature, and that was all it needed. Got to thank Design Metal Art, Methanol Mafia, Detweiler Designs, Jessup Logistics. Got to thank you guys over at ESBN. The broadcasting is awesome, and got to give a shout out to Chris Roberts, who put this awesome league together.
Well, thank you very much. Your second place finisher here tonight, Darren Detweiler. Congratulations, bud.
Thank you.
And with that, we will now bring up our third place finisher here tonight. Second time we've heard from him this evening. That would be one Mr. Jake Greenwood. And Ben, you are with him.
Again, exactly what I was going to say. Second time talking to you today, Jake. After a really great run for you in the 410 sprint cars, how much of that momentum carried over to get you back on the podium for the second time this season with the big block modifieds?
Yeah, kind of the same thing, kind of shorter track like this. I kind of do better on smaller tracks with these big blocks for sure. Uh, Compared to the big tracks, I still don't quite got it down yet setup wise. I don't think. But on these small tracks, man, it was definitely a blast. It was a lot of work to get up there. A lot of good racing with those guys.
And that's exactly what I was going to ask you, man. I know, starting a little bit further back, actually up front, but, able to keep it up there all night. Walk us through what that was like as things got pretty interesting for about the last 20 or 25 laps.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of close, intense action. A lot of respect shown between all the drivers there up front there in that race. That was definitely a lot of fun. Uh, Pretty much just trying as hard as I could to keep my nose clean and not damage the car any, because that just slows you down, and drive as clean as I could, and uh, tried to follow Mason there, maybe to get by the the front two there and get second, but Darren and Josh are just too tough. And I thought us normal people, uh, Mason, us normal people had a good race because Mason was just absolutely gone, and he's really hard to beat.
And, it seemed like the other thing being you were one of the only guys to really, at some points, really kind of use up the bottom working out for you. How much did that pay dividends for you in the long run?
Yeah, you really got to woe it down, and maybe a little bit different gear selection. I might have even been a little better, but it got really thin down there. And on that last restart, I definitely didn't want to be down there, but I tried to just make the best of it and run it the best I could to try to hold my spot. But it was definitely hard. The top was the place to be tonight, I think.
Absolutely. And who do you want to thank here tonight for getting you on the podium again twice?
Definitely the most wanted guys. Can't say enough about Chris in this league, DOB. It's really a blast. Detweiler Designs for the awesome looking paint. Design metal art for sure. Jessup Logistics, Methanol Mafia Productions, and you guys for coming on board and doing this last kind of half of the season. It's really great to watch.
It's our pleasure, man. Thanks for putting on a show night in and night out. We look forward to seeing you next week from USA. And have a good night, man.
Yeah.
All right, so that was your third place finisher, Jake Greenwood. Tonight's second and third place finishes for him. Not that bad a night over the course of the two series. That will wrap up the interview portion of the night. And Ben, we saw a great night of racing. Again, two completely different disciplines, two completely different racetracks, but still the same great racing from the DOB series tonight.
Absolutely. Every time that I get the chance to call these series, it's an absolute blast. If you haven't checked it out or it's your first time checking it out, thanks for stopping by and continue to stop by to see some of the best dirt track racing that iRacing has to offer with the DOB 410 sprint cars and their big block modified series, as well as all the other ones that they run as well.
Yeah, these guys have put on one heck of a show every single time we have put them on our airwaves here, whether it be the 410s from the start of the season or the big blocks from about the midway point of the season. It has been one heck of a ride. So let's get to the results here for tonight's race. Mason Hannigan takes his second win of the year. Darren Detweiler and Jake Greenwood round out the podium positions. Joshua Pickle and Daniel Blau make up the top five. Jeremy Prey, Aaron Schaefer, Kevin Hanley, Kyle Stoltz, and Brock Garris round out the top 10.
Followed by Chris Roberts in the 93 car, Russell Berry 12th in the 84, the 084, 13th, Randy Shreves. Kevin Click, 14th. Tyler Henselman, 15th. Mike Keegan, 16th, down 1 lap. And Jeff Sharp going to retire early as Nathan Kropa hit me with it.
I think Kropacheski, I believe.
Kropacheski. I'm sorry, Nathan. Not gonna start with us tonight.
Yeah, unfortunate for him. And that was Jeff Sharp's evening done after the first lap incident that saw him up on his lid. Again, we are off for the next couple of nights. The Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series and the E-Formula 3.5 Series, both with scheduled weeks off this weekend. So we will return on Sunday with the Medieval Racing League's Daytona 500 coming up on Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming up on Monday will be the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. They will be at Richmond for round number 9 of their season, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time is the start. Then a double dip on Tuesday night. The UK Sim Racing's MX5 Pro Series will have their 6th round at Lime Rock Raceway in Pennsylvania. It'll be a 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time start for them. And then the nightcap will be the Western States Racing League from Nashville, from the Nashville Fairgrounds at 8:05. Coming up on Wednesday will be another double dip. It'll be the Endurance for Beginners Series. They will be at Le Mans for round number 3 of their series. That will be at 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time start. And then Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series will be at 8:45 p.m. Eastern Time. They will go at Michigan International Speedway as the second half of their season really starting to kick off from there. So for my broadcast partner, Ben Bruno, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening, and we will see you all next week from Lanier, and from USA International. Good night, everybody.